Families for Justice, Steve Evans, into the room. We have 10 minutes with Steve. There you are, Steve. Tēnā koe, welcome again to the Select Committee. We've heard from you on another occasion. If you'd like to turn on your, oh, there you are, turn on your camera. And so we have you for 10 minutes. If you'd like to leave some time for questions, that would be great. You might want to just lift your camera up just a little bit there.
I wanted you to see the T-shirt.
Oh, right, we can see the T-shirt. It's just we can't, yeah. That's cool. Thank you. You can, up to you, but always good to be able to see a person's face when you're talking with them. Look, Steve, welcome. Thank you for your submission. We have got 10 minutes with you. Leave some time for questions. We'll probably have some. We are in your hands. Welcome. Thank you.
Hi. Well, I'm here today to speak to the people's representatives, which is, I understand, is the ministers of the Crown. Okay. I'm not going to read my submission. You can have a look at it because I've looked through a lot of the other submissions, and people like Graham Axford, for example, who's one of the submitters, did a spectacular submission, but I wonder quite seriously whether some of our representatives will actually read it. Whoever wrote this Oversight Committee, and I'm sorry to be derogatory, and I don't mean to be, but it's so outstandingly a failure of what the people would like to see, that, you know, the person who wrote it must have been smoking little green cigarettes or worked for the Public Policy Department of Oranga Tamariki. Because what we want to see is the power of Oranga Tamariki reduced. Because, and it's not an allegation, Oranga Tamariki is a lawless, corrupt, rogue ministry whose social engineering and eugenics has caused intergenerational genocide of all races in New Zealand, particularly Maori, right? I say this with evidence, not just my own, which I put in the my submission, but I ask you to, you could look at Graham Axford. I think he did quite a good historical review. But, you know, we've got the government's evidence that there are serious underlying problems. But have you ever read any of the reports like the Royal Commission on Abuse in State and Faith-Based Care? Lake Alice, another example, 50 years people tried to get the state to listen to them. The Ombudsman's report, the Waitangi Tribunal report that was filed by the likes of Jean DeHuya and the Uplifts, the Howard Broad report on the independent complaints system. Now that costs the taxpayer $700,000. And I look at the oversight bill that is before us, and I think to myself, no fool's even read it. Because how could you put this before the people? How could you put this bill before the people? Some fool wants the ERO, the Education Review Office, to be part of the independent complaints group. Now, yesterday, quite clearly, a report has come out about the failure of education. And you want to put those people? You know, like, I'm a business person originally, right? And there's no way you would give a really important role to a group of people that have failed in their core business. Unbelievable. You want the Ombudsman to be involved in an independent complaints review organisation. Well, I can tell you that in my particular case, right, which I've been fighting for 8 years, when I went to the Ombudsman, they closed my file. They closed my file because I was traumatised, I was possibly deregulated, because they're not trauma informed. We've had a crack at them over being not trauma informed. But secondly, They won't even look at your case because it's going through the court. Now, I've had to spend years trying to overturn the courts. I won. Eventually, I won. We need an independent complaints organisation for Oranga Tamariki. And that means something like the IPCA. A totally independent organisation, because the state organisations that are involved in the family court system and their associates are abusing the citizens on a massive scale. Look, we've had the family court law reform. You know, we thought that Labor was onto it. It came out, Ros Noonan's report, that said that the family court wasn't fit for the purpose. Well, I can tell you that's absolutely true. So the whole family court Oranga Tamariki New Zealand Police Child Protection System is a shambles, because they work together to cover up and protect the behaviour of the social workers, the police officers, and the and other people within the system. Now, mine's a great case because I went to the Court of Appeal and won. And the police were nailed. They didn't even come to court, yet they were the ones giving the information to Oranga Tamariki and supporting them. The system is corrupt. We need to take away some of the power from the state, because the judiciary is supposed to be the interposer between the overwhelming power of the state versus the fragile rights of an individual. But in New Zealand, the state supports Oranga Tamariki and their criminal behaviour. In my case, not one person has been held to account. Well, I am not going to stop until some of those people are either in jail or fired. So you'll see a lot of me for the next 10 years, I imagine.
Steve, we're nearly at time. Did you want to leave time for questions?
You guys can have questions if you like.
Look,
because it's really clear to me that this select committee is an absolute farce, because no one's getting the ability to actually talk to you in 10 minutes and tell you what's really wrong with the system and what you need to do. You're not listening. I'm telling you, this isn't just a Labor problem. National did it too. So did New Zealand First. The citizens have reached a stage where we're sitting and wondering, what have we got to do to get you people to listen? We vote you in, and then you shaft us. Glenn.
Oh, kia ora, Steve. Thanks for your submission. In looking in this piece of work, it was 2015. It was a national government that began, and then we've taken it on. So there's been consultation all the way through. Have you been part of any of those consultation documents, or have you been engaged at all over the 7 years since this work began?
The New Zealand government, or the ministers that I've been involved in, very few of them want to engage with me or our group, because we didn't know what to do. We were citizens, so we just protested. Well, we're sick of protesting, so we did the select committee stuff, and now we don't feel as though you guys are listening to us at all. So we started targeting organisations and groups. So we went after New Zealand First because Tracy Martin wouldn't listen and talk to any of the victims. Well, New Zealand First got the boot. I mean, we're really pissed off. We don't know what to do to get you people to listen to us.
Well, I think I have one question. We're nearly at time. So, Steve, you talked about the Ombudsman, and without going into the detail of your particular circumstances, you talked about the Ombudsman closing your case because you were having an experience of trauma, and you talked about wanting trauma-informed skills for the Ombudsman's office. Is that something that you would recommend?
Absolutely. When you've got someone running around with an AK-47 threatening you and your children, right, you're going to be unhappy. When you go to the police in Oranga Tamariki to protect your children and they didn't, you're going to be deregulated.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't get anybody to listen to you. if you don't have trauma-informed people in the complaints departments, they're just going to shut you down because you cannot. What I've discovered is that the low-hanging fruit of New Zealand, the low socio-economic people, they're never going to get past the threshold of the tick boxes that the complaints departments within the government want to review it. The complaints departments in New Zealand and the New Zealand government are set up to stop you complaining.
Look, we are at time now, Steve, but I think you've made some good and useful points, and I just want to thank you for participating. Despite what you may believe, we have listened to you, and we will take what you said on. And so thanks for actually keeping your foot in the door and continuing to raise these points.
We're angry.
Appreciate it. Yep.
We're going to have to take more steps. We don't know what they are. There's meetings going on all around the country.
Well, just stay.
What are we going to do?
We'll just stay within the law is what I can recommend. Look, thank you.
Me.
Thank
Families
you.
for Justice have always been lawful.
That's right.
We
Thank
would
you
like
for
the
your time
state to be lawful.
Thank you for your time today, Steve. Appreciate it. I'm sorry, we do have other submitters, so we need to go. For Steve Evans, Families for Justice, for 10 minutes with us. And just a note as well, Ricardo has let us all know he's having difficulty with technology, which is why he is off screen at the moment, but he is listening. So,
very much here.
So, tēnā koe, Steve. We have your, I see you there. If you could turn on your screen as well. And we have you for 10 minutes from...
Won't turn on the video.
Oh, beg your pardon?
Video won't turn on.
Okay, no, that's absolutely fine, Steve. We can just go ahead with you. We can hear you well. So we're in your hands for 10 minutes. Please consider your submission as being read. And if you'd like to leave time for questions, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, we're a large group of disenfranchised citizens. We're across all walks of life, all types of professions, and we've been abused at the hands of Oranga Tamariki. I was a international businessman, and I'm a twice award-winning exporter. Before I raised to the various ministries that there was a serious problem with my children. Now, we sadly have reached the stage where we don't believe we're being listened to. We're really shocked at the changes to this amendment bill, right? So this is not the oversight bill, just the amendment bill. We're really, really surprised that some of the changes that are being proposed are giving more power to Oranga Tamariki than taking it away. Because over history, we have seen report after report. The Ombudsman, for example, said that the uplifts breached domestic and international law. Yet the judiciary was rubber stamping the requests for removal of children from Oranga Tamariki. Now, the problem that you've got is that the bureaucrats have got so much power versus the fragile rights of individuals and innocent parents like myself. And it took 3.5 years plus another 4 years in the family court just to try and get my children safe. Now, the issues that we're having with this bill is we just cannot understand why you would be giving more power to the social workers. The social workers have been caught out lying left, right, and centre. The documentation that they have got has been inaccurate and breaches the Public Records Act. Now, I'm not just saying that they're corrupt.
Steve, if I could just caution you in regards to the information you share about your children, and also and if you could keep things a little general, just interested to hear what you have to say, but am concerned that you might be breaching some of the natural justice rights.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm not breaching my natural justice because I have authority from both of them, but that's fine by.
Yeah.
The point is this, that you need to take away I mean, it's not as if I'm just making this up that they're a lying, corrupt, rogue ministry and out of control. It's your own investigations by other state ministries that have been backing it up. I mean, the Royal Commission on Sexual Abuse and State Care, that is just showing you that the state is a very, very poor parent. And Tolly said that the state is a very poor parent. What I'm telling you that as an advocate, that 30% of the cases that I see are worse than my own, in that the damage that Oranga Tamariki is doing. We're not saying that all children should be with their parents. We're not saying that. But what we're saying is the vast majority of the parents need a helping hand up, not more difficulty in getting to protect their children or to have a relationship with their children. Because one of the problems you've got is that when these social workers produce their documents for the court, the judiciary supports the state and the professionals. And the judiciary is supposed to be the interposer between the overwhelming power of the state versus the fragile rights of individuals. Common domain information. You know, you don't have to worry about me. The documents are produced by the court. They're all in common domain. It's a criminal court. All the information is freely available. There is newspaper articles on it. It is in common domain. Rather than argue about what I'm saying, what we need you people to understand is you cannot give these people more power. You've got to control their power, because you're the bureaucrats and you're the politicians and you're only in for a certain period of time. What you don't understand is that the bureaucrats get stronger and more power over time. And that is the single biggest problem that you're getting. New Zealanders are standing up and saying, we are pushing back against the encroachment of power by the state in our personal lives. Go away. And, you know, New Zealand is the highest rate of disenfranchised people per head of population in the world. That's a national statistic. You know, things are not good in this country. And I'm telling you, we need to start at our kids. And we need to stop the state being the largest abuser of our children. And if you go and listen to the Royal Commission on Sexual Abuse and State and Faith-Based Care, you'll see that the state has protected those institutions for a very long time, and most of those people will never, ever see justice. Yes, Karen?
Oh, so is that your submission, or shall we move to questions now?
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Steve. Okay, so we've got Karen, Anahila, then Harite, and we've only got 3 minutes.
Yeah, so I'm just looking through your submission, and it's quite well laid out what you wanted to say. It was just around a definition around safety and well-being. You were implying that it needs better definition so that social workers have a better best practice when it comes to concerns for safety and well-being. What would you consider as safety and well-being, and how you would define that?
Well, that's kind of complicated because I can only look at certain cases. Oranga Tamariki want to remove a child from a parent because the child hasn't been going to school for 6 months. Well, we all know that removing a child from a parent is the biggest damage you can do. What we need to do, and what we've done, is we've told Oranga Tamariki go away, and we're working with that parent to make sure that the child is slowly integrated back into school. I mean, he has a few issues. He has PTSD. He's only 12, but we're slowly reintegrating him through an organisation, through Child Advocacy in New Zealand, to get that child back into school. And even the teachers are pleased that he's now online, and that kind of learning is growing anyway. So that's one example, where there's a big difference between us and Oranga Tamariki.
Yeah, so what you're really saying is, I mean, we can change the definitions, we can talk about all of this, but it's the process that's the issue.
Correct.
Thanks. We've got time for one more question from Anahela, if it's very brief.
Oh, thank you, Steve, for your submission. Just a quick one. As you talk about, so you totally disagree with the whole bill, but you talk about power. Do you not agree that partially repealing the subsequent child provision is actually providing opportunity for parents?
Well, what we're doing, okay, is we're trying to use the law. So we say to all our clients, unless they're bad clients, and most of those we don't, I really haven't come across in all my years so far, really bad parents where the children should be removed. So the first thing I do is say, there is no child and protection concerns. Thank you, Oranga, Tamariki, you're not required. Pick up the parents and the kids and we walk out.
Thank you.
Right? I mean, we are so concerned about what's going on with Oranga, Tamariki. We've been complaining for a very long time. We're very concerned about what steps that we've got to take to actually get the state to start listening and implementing the things that are required. So I guess, well, now that we've seen these two bills being proposed, you can expect some stuff from us because we are the citizens. We're in charge. You guys are just not listening.
Hey, I really appreciate you appearing before us today, Steve, and thank you for your submission and your words today. Be assured we have heard them, and thank you for taking the time to present to us. So, and we will be taking your suggestions forward to discuss further. Thank you and have a nice day.